cool element, didn't it, to the launch?
I think so, yeah. Usually they're kind of bland and boring events, but it's neat because I think people at work can, see it live. And I think the 360 thing was great.
Yeah, we took it to another dimension, I think. So it's been a busy day. You've been out on track already, but the launch is always busy for you, isn't it? Give us a little taster of what you've been up to.
Yeah, the launches, it's always busy days. Like yesterday, we're doing photo shoots for all the imagery you see through the year is from that long photo shoot we did yesterday, and all the merchandise shoots. Today, it's lots of filming. Obviously, so we did a bit on the track. Just did a big press conference. Tons of interviews. I mean, when you're doing a press conference, it's one thing, but then you go and do the line of cameras. It's like being on the red carpet, but less glamorous, basically.
We're here at Silverstone in the cold and the wet.
Exactly. So, and then just talking, having the same question, but having to answer it in a slightly different way, basically. And then still more photo shoots today. What else is there?
I generally. In the car.
Huh?
You've been out in the car.
Yeah, no, I've been in the car, which is the best part of the day. But then all the other stuff comes. The filming in the car. It's less exciting, but it's busy. And honestly, I don't look at my schedule. I just let. We've got
lovely
some
crew,
great crew.
making sure you're in the right place.
I just follow her. Nicola they basically tell me where to go, and I go.
Perfect. Well, let's talk about the car then, and I'm sure you've been asked countless times already. We've got pictures all behind us on this interactive, amazing wall in our digital garage of the car. How different does it feel to last year? Because we know the changes, we've spoken about the rule and regulation changes, but what does it actually feel like now to drive it compared to last year?
Well, honestly, this is a day where we just do. It's a rundown. It's basically a check-off list. So they're ticking off lots of different things. Does this work? Does the car work? Do the wheels stay on? All these different things. We did a pit stop, for example. Do the guns work? Am I comfortable in the car? Does my seat work? And this is one of those days where you just do all those things and sign it off. Next week when we really get to unleash it. From the little bit that I drove it felt very much the same as last year in a sense. And that's what we worked in. Seat position, steering wheel's the same, controls.
A bit more power, then you're able to lay down a bit more power when you're able to on the straight.
We have all these different switch positions, and we're in the lowest one because we're not out here for so couldn't feel any. It was in the lowest power mode, and it definitely different to our lowest power mode before.
Is that a bit frustrating for you? Because obviously you want to get in, you're back to work, you want to get back to business.
No, because it's a good day to get confidence in the car. If I went to we went straight to the test and found out the brakes didn't work, or there was a failure in something, it can be painful. So it's a good way to not brush off cobwebs. Well, but brush off cobwebs for me because I've not been in the car for ages, and really do the walking because next week we just have to go straight into running.
Absolutely. I know you like to look good as a person outside racing. How important is it to look good though in the car? Because the car's got a bit of a new livery, a bit of a different colour scheme with the blue coming in there. Nice to look fresh for the new season.
I think it doesn't matter what you're doing or where you are or how it is. It's always good to have good looking things and look good in it. So that's why sometimes I'm fascinated. There are some teams that have terrible clothing, or they have the car just doesn't. The design of the car looks terrible. The paint job looks terrible. When you're a multi-billion-dollar million-dollar company, you can't get a paint job right.
You want to look slick. You want to look on point.
Look at our garage. If you go to the Grand Prix, we have the best garage. We have this interactive screen, which no other team has. You go to, and some others just are less. Have used less creative minds to design the spaces there. But they've done an amazing job with the car this year. It's constantly getting cooler as the days go.
It is getting cooler. We have got lots of questions coming in from the fans on Facebook and Twitter and on YouTube. Our first one comes from Alb UK Official. Thank you very much for getting in touch. The first question is, what are your plans and aims this season? And obviously it's difficult when it's so early on, but I assume you want to win?
Yeah, it's quite an easy answer. I definitely don't want to finish second. So every year you don't necessarily set yourself different goals. They're generally the same as the previous year. But you add some more to the list that you might have. Yeah, I mean right now all us drivers want to win, but it doesn't mean we're going to have the cars to be able to do that, or some people may not have the ability to do so, and or it's the opportunity. So we'll find out whether I have the car next week, whether it is a reliable, fast car to be able to exploit what I have inside me, and vice versa. So, and my goal is I'm looking for that fourth world championship, which
that's the way, Lewis.
Well,
You
we'll
never
see,
know.
we'll see.
We've got another question in from mon_the_gers. Maybe Gers. I'm not sure. Thank you very much for your question nonetheless. I was going to ask you at the beginning, is it weird not having Nico here as a side topic? And we'll get on to Mon the Gers' question now. But is it weird having been teammates for so long?
Honestly, it's not. It was, I think over the last couple of months, thinking it's going to be weird not having Nico in the team this year, but you move on. There's someone else that's taking his place. There's lots of people that would want to take his place and my place, and that's the way life is. And we'll work very hard. It doesn't change what I've got to do. It doesn't change anything in my life, to be honest. I've still got to try and go out and be the best. There's a championship there for the taking, and I want to be the one that grabs it.
It's interesting because Mon the Gers has asked, how do you feel about Nico retiring and not having that opportunity to fight back and maybe set some sort of things straight, as it were, this year without him being here?
I don't feel any way about it. There's a championship this year. Most of the drivers are still there, and I don't have to go and prove anything. I mean, I won more races last year than my team. I mean, I've won a couple of championships alongside him, so I don't feel it makes any difference that he's either there or not, in the sense of having to get it back from him. It's there for the taking again, and I'm going to be up against another great driver this year, which is Valtteri, and the Ferrari is hopefully going to be there. The Red Bulls are going to be there. So,
well, that brings me on actually to another question from Raul VH23. Thank you, Raul. What team do you think will be your hardest opponent? You mentioned there Red Bull and Ferrari. Do you think they are the two? But we've seen, Renault launching this week, sounding very strong, saying that they've managed to find 35 horsepower, 0.3 of a second out on the track. Do you think they could be in the mix as well? And Force India, of course, as well.
I wish them all the best, and I hope that it's the best year that they've ever had. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I know everyone in all the teams work so hard to create these great cars, and all the drivers have been training very hard to be at their best. So, of course, you always, when you see the qualifying grid, and you see sometimes such big gaps for some teams, you always hope that the next year is going to be a better year for them. So, Force India have been doing a fantastic job with their relationship with Mercedes, and I think they're part working with McLaren at one stage. So I think they've come a long way. Sauber have had some difficult years. I hope it's a better year for them. Their car looks better. That's already a step. Just in the livery, it looks cool.
Yes, yeah, you're right, absolutely.
The one before was terrible. So that's a good step already. So everyone's going to be stepping forwards and hoping.
Absolutely.
I hope it's closer in the pack.
Closer out on track. That then brings us to the topic of overtaking. And Dan on Twitter, thank you for your question, has asked if you think it's going to be more difficult. There's been lots of speculation, and originally people were thinking it was going to be harder. Some people have now stepped forward saying it might be easier even. What's your take on it?
Well, most likely most people's opinion is just it'll be a guess, because you don't have the facts just yet. None of us really have the facts. When we get out on track, we have the hard facts, whether the car is better, has more turbulence. But the engineers say the car is wider, tires are bigger, we have a lot more downforce. It's like, can I compare it? It's like taking a small propeller plane and compare it to a Boeing 737. It's got so much more performance on it, and out the back is just a lot more powerful dirty air. So they say that the smartest guys in my team say it's going to be worse. I believe them.
So you want to be at the front, basically?
You always want to be at the front anyways, but yeah. And the tyres were supposed to, the whole goal is to have more mechanical grip, but I don't think necessarily going to have much more, if any, because the car's wider, have more drag, it equals out the advantage potentially you get, maybe, who knows.
Dan on Twitter wants to know what you think about the competition from Max Verstappen this year. He showed a lot of promise last year. Are you envisaging a bit of a tight battle with him up front?
I hope so, yeah. I think Max we all know Max did a fantastic job. He's obviously a great talent, and he's young, still got lots to grow in himself, and he'll continue to get better. So I definitely look forward to racing with him. I'm always down for the challenge.
Well, he is a young driver, obviously, and not to put too fine a point on it, you're one of the older drivers now on the grid.
Thank you.
Kimmy on Twitter wants to know what have been the main challenges. His name is Kimmy.
Oh, stop.
Kingy.
Kingy.
Sorry,
Kingy,
Kingy.
that's the same.
What have been the main challenges over the decade that you've been in Formula One?
Jesus, it is a decade, isn't it? Make me feel old, damn it.
Well, sorry, you are.
Am I older than you?
Yes, you are.
Damn it.
That was a close one.
There's been so many challenges, and I think there's been lots of lessons learned, lots of things lost. But I think ultimately it's just really been about trying to make sure you're always stepping forwards, not dwelling on things, enjoying life. You know, you see on the news every day stuff that's going on. It's really easy to take for granted what we all have, no matter where you are in life, how old you are. And I think definitely as I've been getting older and appreciating more of what I have, where I've come from, the time that I have.
You seem a lot more comfortable in yourself. I think if you look back over the last decade, perhaps you weren't able to express yourself in the early days, and now it seems like, you know, everything from your look, from your style, from your interests outside of racing, you seem to have kind of discovered who you are. Would that be right?
What I feel like is I feel as definitely a late bloomer, is that right? Or super late bloomer. I think that's, you know, you see young people today, and a lot of young people today are allowed to be their creative selves and let it grow. And when I was young, that was not allowed.
Yeah.
Be it at school, teachers not allowing you to be who you wanted to be, to let you prosper and grow. People around me, and being in the sport that I was as well was very restricting. So yeah, and I think it wasn't until finally I got, you know, it's really been like the last 5 years now to kind of grow into who I wanted, you know, naturally where I want to go and be. And I'm glad I'm finally here. Has been, if I had done it when I was 22, it would be so cool, but you know, it is the way it is.